What is going on, everyone? My name's Boit, and I'm back with some more Age of Mythology. The Titans action spawning in the red color, playing as Odin. His name is the Rapl. His opponent today in the blue color, playing as Oranos. His name is Mor. More. He's playing as Oranos here, so it's a scary Mor. When Mor's not messing around with his off-civs and he picks Oranos, you know he made some business. The map is Tundra. We'll see how this game is going to eventuate. It's a Oranos versus Odin matchup, and the reason why I like watching this, especially watching Mor play, is he comes at this matchup from a very, very, very different style. Now, if I'm playing this one as Oranos, I feel like if I'm playing this one as Oranos against Odin, I feel like the best play on Tundra is actually to drop double military barracks here, and just chuck a bunch of villagers onto food. You've got berries here. You've got the caribou. You've got the medium gold mine in your base. It's nice and defensive. You don't really have a whole lot of stuff to worry about in the early game. So the only thing that you might want to consider is if your opponent goes through a Heimdall here, you might want to be getting Terma or Kyra out at the start of the game to defend that Heimdall rush. But if your opponent goes for the Freya style, as Rapl is more inclined to do, I mean, basically if you're playing against Soup, you know he's probably going to enjoy some Heimdall games against you from time to time, so you got to be ready for that. But if you're playing against Rapl, he's mostly going to be going for, or someone like Rapl or Shelty or Yoshi, they're mostly going to be going for the Odin Ulfsark opening, which is arguably hard countered by a double Murmillo opening, but we don't see it all too often from the Oranos side of things. The reason why it's good is effectively it forces your opponent to start making throwing axemen, and once you see the throwing axemen coming out, then you can go into Terma and have a really, really good time making Terma with a actual effect. And having Terma have an actual effect or impact on the game. Because normally what happens in this matchup is if you go Murmillo, Terma, and your opponent goes Mass Ulfsark, the Terma actually don't do anything because they don't hit the Ulfsark. The Ulfsark get onto the Terma, they start hacking away at the Terma. And maybe at the end of the fight, when all is said and done, all the Terma are dead, and the Terma have probably done around about 50 points of damage in the entire fight. So it's really important to make sure you're doing that. But the way that Mor plays it, or the way that Mor played it in the last game that we saw him play against Odin, is he likes to get the Kyra out early to deal with those Ulfsark. So we'll see if he's going to do the same thing on this High Hunt map here. He's going on to berries nice and early. If we move over onto Rapl's perspective over here, he's getting out his final dwarf here. His temple is just about to hit. He's got himself 6 villagers on food, 4 villagers on wood, 4 villagers on gold, and he is going through Freya. So no real surprises there. The way that he's scouted here is actually quite interesting. You can see that he's scouted his own side of the map completely, basically. And what this actually does is it gives you a lot of information about what's on your opponent's side of the map. If you check this out, it means you know your opponent's got some elk. You know your opponent's got some elk over here in a corner somewhere or in a file location. You know your opponent's got a spawn of aurochs somewhere that you can keep an eye on. And the map's not mirrored, but it is mirrored in terms of the amount of resources that are actually on the map. You know your opponent's got a stray elk somewhere. You know your opponent's got a polar bear somewhere. You know your opponent's only got 2 gold mines here thus far that you've actually seen. I mean, this is arguably, there's a little bit more of the map to actually scout out to see to know exactly how many gold mines are on here. But if it was, yeah, you can kind of see where it kind of gets cut in half here. You get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 gold mines. And he's only scouted, 3 gold mines at the moment, or not even half of this map. But he's scouted a lot of the food. Anyways, neither here nor there. You can use that on a different map with lower hunt to actually realize, like if you do it on Painted Desert or something, you can get a lot of information where that's concerned. As the Longhouse coming down, this is an interesting one from Rapl. He's actually got the wood to drop double Longhouse, but he's choosing to get 1 Longhouse up really, really fast here instead of 2 Longhouses up a little bit quicker. So we'll see how that's going to go, if it actually ends up mattering or not. Going to get himself some Ulfsark going really nice and early. Moving over to Mor's perspective here. He's dropping down military and counter barracks as the immediate forest fire gets dropped onto this. I think we really got to appreciate, for a 2003 game, how sick does the fire look? It looks pretty cool. For a 2003 game, 2002 released game, that looks pretty sick. And this, I mean, when you go and look at Extended Edition, I'm sure it even looks even better. I can't wait to see what they're going to do with Retold in terms of the graphics. It's going to be very, very, very exciting. As we can see that Mor here, he's playing incredibly defensively. You can see he's actually got 4 villagers on food, 2 on gold, getting his mana up, playing in his base. Still hasn't even gotten himself out of Cairo Ballast or anything yet, just playing it just incredibly safe here. And Rapl is going to have full access to the map. He's scouting around. He's got his Raven flying overhead, just making sure that nothing too crazy is happening here. Raiding Cavalry actually starting to come out for Rapl, as it looks like Rapl is literally just faking with these Ulfsark. He's not going for mass Ulfsark here at all, and he might be trying to bait. He is baiting Mor into building a Cairo Ballaster here. I love this play from Rapl. This is such a smart play for Rapl here, because Mor is like, oh, this is just the standard Ulfsark. He's just going to go with his standard defensive play here. But what is actually happening is Rapl fakes that. He's going to make himself some raiding cavalry. The throwing axemen are going to be a super value unit as well here, because no Terma. So the throwing axemen are going to have some advantage where that's concerned. And Mor's going to push out onto his second hunt here. He will have some units on this, but he's not going to have those Terma here to help out. He's going to have these kind of weak Cairo Ballaster against raiding cavalry, that is. They are strong units, but against raiding cavalry, they're not that good. As the raiding cavalry going to swing in onto this position, Mor a little bit out of position here, as the villagers going to garrison into the manor, getting a little bit of economic damage done onto this position, as the citizen going to pop back out here, getting a little bit of damage done onto those at the moment as they jump back into the manor, popping out just a little bit too quickly here, as population now for Mor sitting at 62 to Rapl, who's sitting at 74. So Rapl has that slight advantage in the early game because he's been on hunt at the start, and he's also has the advantage of being able to train from that temple, making some Hersa out of there and all the other good stuff, as the units here for Rapl going to be pulling back. Having burned this forest over here, it does mean that he's actually forced Mor onto like a side of the map, which is going to be a little bit easier to defend. You kind of want, if you can, to split your opponent on one side of the map here on wood, one side of the map on gold, and one side of the map on food, so you can kind of multi-raid and hit everything. As we do see medium raiders coming through, and Mor's going to start sending out these kind of little cheeky scouting patterns here just to see where his opponent is, where he's moving over onto the Aurochs. He knows very well now that that's where he's at, and Mor is going to be looking for a very, very big push coming in soon. Do we see some Terma coming out now? Yes, we do. Mor's realizing he's maybe not made a mistake here, but maybe not made the best decision to make those Cairo Ballaster at the start. One of the big weaknesses of the Cairo Ballaster is how slow it is. And with that Raven flying overhead here, Rappl's going to know exactly where that army is, and he's going to be putting his units in position to take a really, really big fight here moving forward. There is still Shockwave remaining, so Rapl does have to be a little bit careful here, but those 5 throwing axemen, which are going to normally be a little bit of a liability in the Norse army, are going to be super strong here, because Mor just simply does not have the Terma out to really match those as much as he normally would. Normally he'd have like 6 or 7 Terma out at this point, as Rapl is just going to be pulling back here, not going to be too keen on taking the fight here. He needs to make sure that he separates his raiding cavalry up nicely to surround that army. But at this point, Mor is just playing it nice and slow, nice and defensive. He's actually got some farms down already. While he does have the relic Blue Crystal Shard, which doesn't really affect the farms, it does give him a little bit extra wood and gold. It's really, really good technology or relic to have as Atlantean, because it is a flat boost. As we do see that ox cart getting sniped down here, is the army going to surround this? Are we going to see that ox cart staying alive here? It looks like it will stay alive, just barely, but it looks like now Mor's going back onto it, getting some significant economic damage done onto the army here, onto the economy, I should say, as Rapl is going to make this trade here. He's going to take a lot of damage onto the actual army of the Oranos player, as Mor's going to have to pull back here. And we'll see how much that's actually going to matter here. Because I imagine Rapl here, what I would do is I would take this ox cart here. I would send it over here. I would move my villagers onto this straggler tree here and rebuild the ox cart. Very, very simple way to deal with an ox cart getting taken as Norse, as we do see some villagers moving over onto this location over here. Another ox cart has already popped out for Rapl. A little bit of housing crisis, not a housing crisis, but full population here for Rapl as he's going to be pushing in. This is very, very much a important thing to do when you hit full population, is to actually fight most of the time, or cut your population to allow villagers to be produced. We do see that those raiding cavalry, Thrawn Axemen get a huge shockwave taken onto them. The Terma on the back getting a lot of damage over here as we finally see Rapl reacting, sending at least only one medium raider over there. He probably should send a couple more onto those Terma, because they are completely tearing the Thrawn Axemen apart here as Mor's taking this fight nicely, but it looks like his army is just not going to be able to deal with the Norse army of Rapl just yet. So he's going to have to pull back. A huge win for Rapl right now. And the question is, what do you do when you win a fight against Atlanteans, but also against Oranos? What do you do? I actually think the best play after you win a fight as Norse here in this specific situation is actually to retreat, cut production, go heroic age. Just cut production, or other option is grab a town center. One of those two options, very, very important here as the army pushes through over here, still trying to find some value against this Mor army. I mean, you don't have to fully retreat, but definitely cut production and do something specific with it, as that citizen does pop out. Going to be losing one citizen there as well. That's a nice hit to the Mor economy there, as Mor is trying to figure out what he can do with his army, trying to get some raids in. We do see the Raven flying overhead over here already, but Mor coming in with a handful of units here to deal with this, as the villagers going to be grabbing this Auroch over here as well, having a field day with all the hunt on the map. We still don't have an armory down just yet for Rapl. Imagine he's going to be throwing it down fairly soon. He's just about able to get up to the next age. We do see him moving to the middle of the map here with that large gold mine. No real defenses on that one there, so Mor might be able to get some cheeky raids onto that as the raiding cavalry pulling back over here. Maybe Mor needs to get a mana set up on this location to defend the hunt over there. Mor was at 92 of 115 population. Rapl just about to get to the next age here, or be able to get to the next age. As a raid now coming in. This is exactly what I said was potentially going to happen here, as Rapl not actually paying attention. This is a significant hit to Rapple's economy. He's one town center. Losing all these villages is hurting quite a lot, as now he's going to be retreating back, going to be looking for some more raids in the main base of Mor here. There is no villagers on this wood over here. No villagers on this wood. We see all the farms getting grabbed over here. Villagers over on this location over here. The raid onto this is going to start coming in. Skadi on the way now for Rapl, as Mor is now starting to control this game, even after that early game damage coming through, that loss of that fight, because it's just utilizing the speed here of the Oranos units. I think if Rapl had just grabbed the second town center, pulled back into his main base instead of taking all of these positions and just defended his gold mine, he would be in a much stronger position. But he's still completely fine here, just taking a little bit of economic damage, still getting that heroic age in. Mor at this point, he's actually going to be losing some farms here. I really, really love this play here from Rapl. Yes, Mor's got a handful of wood in the bank, but this is absolutely huge here for Rapl. Going to be taking down the farms over here. There's a couple more farms to be cleaned up at this point, but he's doing some beautiful raids here as he pulls out. I don't think he even lost a unit there, because the town center was targeting the Valkyrie. As now the army going to come through here. We do see Skadi coming in. Rapl going to be moving his units through here. Sees the villagers on this position. They're going to be trying to make a break for it. We do see some units coming around on the top side of the map here, sniping down one of the Promethean offsprings over here. Meanwhile, more raids coming in, but it looks like Rappel's able to defend this one nicely with his Thrawn Axemen on this position as well. We see the mini raid getting pushed back. The citizen here looking like it's just about to fall. 1 HP remaining, does go down. The other citizen's going to be pulling back. Mor at this point still has got himself 4 citizen on this location, and Rapl can very simply just send all of his units over here. If we take a look at Rappel's economy right now, he's now starting to get frost giants out, pushing onto this location, still defending his gold mine nicely, as the army is looking like it's ready to start pushing in onto this position. We do see Mor getting himself a manor over there to help defend his citizen, but Mor's economy is in a very, very difficult position here, as the Terma getting cleaned up here. See the units here just hanging back as the catapult is going to come in here and start taking the fight. We see the Frost Giants moving forward, as well as the army going to come through over here. A big Frost maybe looking to get dropped down, but you just have to pick off that mana first. Is a really good way of playing it, as the Frost Giant getting caught out ever so slightly. Will we see that mana getting cleaned up yet? Kind of. Rapl not really controlling that one. His unit's getting distracted over here. Is the Citizen going to pop back out? Now we do see the repair coming through, but it's not going to be enough. As some units coming in onto this position, we do see the army trying to push through here, attack that gold mine yet again, but Rapl ready to defend that one there as a shockwave does come in. Frost getting dropped down onto this position as all of the Citizen do get frosted there. One Citizen pops into the mana and survives for the time being, but 3 Citizen or 4 Citizen getting frosted, and the entire army here as Rapl is pushing very, very fast towards the next portion of this game here. He's pumping out units everywhere. We do see a marker getting dropped down for Rapl as well, as a Ragnarok at this point is going to be absolutely undefendable given the situation that Mor is in here. As more units pushing in onto this location, we do see heavy throw and action is through for Rapl as well, as Mor here 93 of 95 population. We see a mana coming back up in the main base for Mor, as the a Citizen over here does get sniped down. Another Citizen has been cleaned up over here. 5 seconds remaining on this Frost. One thing you got to do is once that hits, like, I guess 2 seconds here, you actually have to hit Q on the Frost, as we do see as Mor does tap out here, but you do have to hit Q, which is the stop command for your units on the Frost Giant a couple of seconds before the Frost is finished. Because if you frost beforehand, the actual free special ability gets used up and doesn't have any effect. It's one of those weird. Whether or not it's a bug or not, it probably is a bug that shouldn't be in the game. But it's just kind of how the Frost Giant works, and how Frost works is that the units start unfreezing just that little bit before the Frost is up, and the Frost Giant says, "I can do this," and it's done already. Anyways, a fantastic game here played by Rapl. I loved the fake Ulsark. The fake Ulsark was so smart here from Rapl. Comes in, forces out like a Kyroballister. You would never make a Kyroballister against raiding cavalry. There's just no point. The Kyroballister only works well against infantry units. And raiding cavalry obviously aren't that, but I think Rapl is learning from Mor's playstyle. And now Mor has played so many games where he's played against like what we call what's it called? Net build players who take a build from the internet and just use it, and they don't have any reaction to anything. They don't know how to actually play against someone who's trying to counter their build, because they just know that build. And Rappel's saying, look, you're metagaming here. Effectively, Mor is metagaming here by trying to play a certain style to counter a different style. So if Rapl plays the next level of metagamer, it says, I'm gonna fake this, I'm going to go this way. It's very Mr.-esque, actually, and he forced Mor into a style that he really didn't want to be playing. And Rapl gets all the advantage here in this game and takes the dub. If you guys enjoyed this one, please consider hitting the follow on the Twitch. If you're on the YouTube, hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you guys in the next game.